like to call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. May we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Belfiore?
Here.
Mr. Biondo?
Here.
Mr. DuJulio?
Here.
Mr. Lunston?
Here.
Mrs. Coletti? Here. Mr. Esivich?
Here.
Mr. Stoffel?
Here. The quorum has been established. Well, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. It's over there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was Warner, could you read our mission statement, please?
The mission of Norwich School District D-80 is inspiring educational excellence in a nurturing environment.
Thank you. Public participation, Sarah? Mr. Kita? Mr. Kita? So you're doing it for the other stuff, right? Thank you. Recognition of visitors, thank you for coming out. We have a couple pieces of correspondence that are on board packets and several FOIAs. Right before our presentation, I would ask for Dr. Schilling just to do a quick summary of the budget and the things that are on the agenda because he has to leave.
Sure. First of all, you have the 2018 tax levy. The tax levy is being done as it was in past years. We kind of inflated so that we can cover any unanticipated growth in construction or TIFs or anything that's coming off that would increase. All that aside, the expectation is that it will, the total amount of taxes received from property taxes next year will most likely be the CPI, which is under the tax cap, and for next year that's 2.1%. As far as where we are with the budget and financial projections.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. I think you'll be discussing the AFR during your meeting, and the deficit came in about $130,000, which was better than what we had projected. And as you know, you've already adopted a budget that basically says at the end of this year we'll be out of the deficit reduction plan so that we've met our obligations under the state board requirements. The last piece going forward is that, and this was discussed at the Finance Committee meeting, is that under the evidence-based funding model, there is a piece of legislation that authorizes the state, if they fully fund that model every year, to do property tax relief through a tax abatement. The problem with that is that you don't get the same percent back as the amount that you abate. So for Norwich, if you look at your tax rate compared with all the rest of them in the state, you could ask for an abatement, but you'd basically lose 60 cents on the dollar. In other words, if you asked for up to $1 million tax abatement, you'd only get 400 and some thousands. You would leave you 600,000 short in your budget. So I am recommending you not do that. There are only a small number of districts that makes sense for, and most of them have very healthy fund balances or very, very high tax rates. So I think that covers most of the stuff on the agenda, unless anybody has any specific questions.
So going to the $130,000 deficit spending last year, so we were supposed to approximately deficit spend about $400,000, give or take, and we came in at $130,000.
Correct.
So
We did good. And that helped for this year so that we can meet our requirements under the deficit reduction plan. The implications for the future, we're not discussing projections now. We will be down the road and over the next couple months is that, and obviously to maintain a balanced budget in the future, we have to kind of live with under our revenue. And our revenue is really averaged about 2% a year, 2.1. So that's kind of where we're at when we look forward and address some of the key issues in the district that are just coming up.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Dr. Schilling?
I have one. I just want to say thank you for always being that beacon of light for us and always guiding us in the right direction and always making sure we continue to stay on task. So thank you for your guidance when it comes to the budget.
Well, you've been a great board to be able to advise, because a lot of boards don't listen to what I say. No, I mean, you know, it's very difficult to do what you've done, is what I'm saying. And you're in a good place right now. And a lot of people, you know, when I mentioned what the district's been able to accomplish in the last 3 or 4 years are just amazing. So,
Go right into, great, thank you, Dr. Schilling. Administration.
So this is the Director of Special Ed, Mrs. Kim Hansen, is going to do a presentation on the comprehensive plan.
Great.
Okay, just give me a minute to set up.
Did he not put it on the thing for you?
No, but we'll be here. There it is.
So sorry.
That. I apologize. I've become so accustomed to Google Slides that when I get to this one, it takes me a minute. There we go. No, that's not right.
That's the challenge.
I know, right?
On the bottom.
You see it?
Yes.
Left of the slide.
Right there. Thank you. Okay, my screen looks different than what's projected up there, but what is projected up there is what I would like to share with everyone this evening. I appreciate you inviting me back. I am here to give you an update. I was invited to share the progress of the special education programming since the school district withdrew from LASIK Cooperative late last school year. I presented on the first 50 days and thought this evening I would kind of stick with that theme and give you an update of how far we've come in the next 100 days since we last chatted. So I've got some updates for you here related to staffing, the IDEA grant, contracts, community engagement, communication, and our self-audit. This is just one slide of the many, many things that our team has been very busy working on these past couple of months. In terms of staffing, I'm happy to report that we are currently fully staffed. We are contracting with our agency Maxim for our nurse, OT, and PT. All students in District 80's vision and hearing has already been screened this school year, so I'm happy to report that as well. The IDEA grant has been submitted and approved. All of our paraprofessional staff are grant funded this year, so that is at no cost to the district. That comes from IDEA funds from the federal government. Our paras are also receiving on-the-job training from our training from our school psychologists as well as our board-certified behavior analyst, Dr. Winiga. They're doing a great job, all working very hard. Our contracts continue to exist with Rich Lee and Brett's Data Solutions, as well as our current private day facilities that we are contracting out for our more significantly impaired students who have very unique needs, those that can't be met in the public school setting. We do have a very small number of students within that population who do require additional supports beyond what a regular public school building can provide. Our EPIC calendar for our parent and special education staff organization, our calendar has been finalized for the remainder of the year. Our committee met just a couple of weeks ago, so we have a lineup of 4 very great sessions set up for staff and parents to come together and talk about that. We have recently completed a parent survey of services and supports in the district that went out to 50% of our parents, of a random sample size that we will then mirror in the spring to be able to compare results, how we're doing now versus how we're doing later on in the school year. And I'm happy to report that those reports from parents have been overwhelmingly positive at this point. We have also started our own self-audit of our special education process, our IEP documentation. We're allowing opportunities for our staff to shadow other professionals in their area to learn from them and their expertise. Our staff have begun facilitating their own IEP meetings with some support. I did make the commitment, and one of my goals for this year was to attend all 127 IEP meetings for our students. I'm pretty close to hitting that mark. There have been a handful this year that I have been unable to attend for one reason or another. Generally, I'm overbooked or double booked, or we have a parent whose needs that we're trying to meet. And in that case, we typically have another administrator or school psychologist sit in as an LEA rep in that circumstance. Our Tier 1 social emotional learning interventions are taking place both at Giles and at Lee. We've also implemented a sensory room. It's an amazing room. I'd love for you to come and visit it. It's a proactive space for our students who have unique sensory needs. It's a place for them to go to calm down and regulate themselves prior to there being an emotional outburst or an incident of self-regulation that might result in the need for some self-management or, we want to be preventative in terms of the physical aggression when students have communication delays or challenges. Our little ones sometimes communicate through their behavior. So when they're frustrated or they can't say what they need or they don't feel good, we have these types of situations that we want to try to prevent. And so we have the sensory room here at Lee for that, for our little ones. We have begun researching the tuition-based preschool. That was something that I spoke about in the first 50 days. Julie Durenz, the school psychologist that you met when the 3 young ladies came and presented, has really helped support the leadership of the preschool screenings and preschool placement process. She and I attend monthly roundtable meetings through the StarNet organization and are learning a great deal about EC childhood, EC special education programming. So just a shout out to Julie Durenz about that. She's been amazing. Our entire student services team was also recently trained in post-crisis procedures and as well as suicide and depression screening procedures. So that has been standardized here in the district. We have forms that we use, we have procedures, we have protocols in the event that a student presents as a danger to themselves or to others.